KBLA Talk 1580 on all of our socials, then you're missing out. Download our app and find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at KBLA 1580.
That's right.
Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcast of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Follow the leader.
Oh my God.
Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
This is my jam. Oh my God, I love this song. You don't like this song? I don't know what it is yet. We got something in common. It's the way we feel about each other when we together. Oh, we got something in common. I can see them dancing right now. They did this at the Image Awards.
Listen, you know, Miss Whitney.
I know I may have made mistakes before, but now I understand what those mistakes were for. Throughout my travels, girl, I realized what you see, what you get, don't always coincide. A bird in the hand beats two in a bush, but just one look was all it took. Could it be that we're the only ones thinking of harmony, ecstasy? There's something about this love. There's something about
Shout out to Something in Common. That was a single from the Bobby album. I had a good time on that tour. Went to a couple of shows.
That was the last, the last of the best of Bobby Brown as we knew him.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from with
Yes.
that. I get it. The funny thing is, you know, I had a friend that was good friends with Miss Whitney, and one night we were at our house, and you know, Whitney and Bobby came. We were having a get together, so let me tell you that I was treated to a Bobby Brown, Whitney Houston performance in her living room, and Bobby was in full mode. He was up on stage like it was 88 doing my prerogative. It was hilarious
I'm sure.
and like unforgettable. Hella fun.
Those are great
Hella
moments.
funny.
We can always like catch an artist like that just in off kilter in the living room somewhere. It's like, wow, am I really watching this right now? So many moments like that in Los Angeles.
So great times. So listen, you know, it is hour 3 of RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk
So
1580.
quick.
Andy, I thought you were going to say something. I was waiting for you to chime in, but okay.
No, I was just gonna say Thug Love and Bobby Brown was popping too.
Let me tell. I went to that
Yes.
video shoot. I was at downtown LA for the helicopter part. Was not at that part, but the part on Hollywood Boulevard. Different friend, close association. We went to that video shoot, so we were on Hollywood Boulevard with Bobby Brown, Ja Rule, all the video girls about 2:00 in the morning with it shut down. And what I also will tell you is, Bump What You Heard. That is my song.
That was
and
a good
I know
song.
you getting bored chilling with them. I know you need my loving, the thug in the thug.
You know what? I liked what Ja Rule did for Bobby Brown because see, we had
Who?
we had not heard from Bobby Brown in a minute
Yeah.
musically. All we knew was that he had been in and out.
That was around the
the
Bobby
reality
Whitney
show.
Do you like
Yeah, so
these?
that was when he
Lascaux
was like inserting himself back into, you know, pop culture a little bit. So
Yeah.
I appreciate what Ja did
good
for him.
song, good video.
Yes.
I still bump that song. I'm not mad at that song at all. Yes, sir.
With that being said, I want to give Ja Rule some more flowers for what he brought to the music game. I felt like we talked about it yesterday, and one of these days we talked about Ja Rule and how him collaborating with a lot of women or whatnot, how that kind of brought them up to a degree. You know, Jennifer Lopez and Charlie Baltimore, Vita, this, that, and the third.
Lil
Lil Mo,
Mo,
yeah.
Lil Mo.
Ashanti, Christina
th-
Milian.
exactly.
He even collaborated with Mary J. Blige. It's
Ooh,
just
that Rainy
those
Day.
rainy days. Yep.
Fire record, but also on the hip hop side, you know what I'm saying? Like creating a record, even though I'm not from New York, but creating the anthem like New York with Fat Joe and Jadakiss
Right.
at the height of his beef with 50. You know what I mean? Like, man, just salute to Ja Rule, man. You know what I'm saying? For everybody that switched sides on him and it was like, oh, I'm rocking with 50. I don't do Ja Rule no more. You know you guys were rocking with Ja Rule heavy, man. Give him his flowers. I know he messed up with the little fire festival, but it's all good, man. Ja Rule, flowers.
You know what? He separated himself from that very clean, by the way.
I'm gonna tell you, I've always messed with Ja Rule. Like, I have some stories from back in the day. Perhaps at another time, though. Another
oh, Jeffrey.
time. I will say that back in the day, going to like not a part. I guess we would call it a kickback. It wasn't called that then, but a kickback at the mansion Ja Rule and them were written, and that's where I first encountered Superhead. So there you go, Corinne, Stephen. Yep. So
What a time.
what a time. Anyway, shout out to that era. So listen, before we get into this Sharon Osbourne story, right? We have to talk a little bit about this stuff with Kiki, right? Just a little bit. So,
my
you
God.
know, there was leaked audio, probably from her child's father, Darius's side, and they thought that it was going to make Kiki and her mom look crazy and guilty of attacking him and whatever. But again, you got to move better. You got to move a little quicker. It just really, really sounds like something else. I don't know. This whole situation is messy and sad. But another artist got thrown under the bus in this audio by the conversation. So it's Keke Palmer's mom going off on Darius, right? It's nearly 8 minutes, right? And Sharon Palmer cursed out Darius for continuing to harass her daughter, right? She called him and his brother kitties, that they weren't raised right by their mother because they have grown up to beat on women. This recording was done illegally, right? She threatened to put a bullet to his head, which we heard. She said, you know, she said that if he put in more work, he might have an acting career, that he wasn't a man. It was shared by blogger Armand Wiggins, the recording. They sent it to him and then later retracted it. I think.
Where do I know that name from?
He's a YouTube blogger. So, and they were, and she said, and what did your mom do to you? She bleeped you up. She turned you into a punk, a mama's boy who harasses women. What kind of BS is that? Your mama should be ashamed of herself, right? And he said that Kiki kept wanting to come back around and he didn't want to be with her. And Kiki was like, that makes no sense as to why you harass me. There's no need to say such horrible things you do because that is nuts. You know, there was a conversation about Kiki potentially hitting him at some point, and she said she was wrong. Some people went back to the book that Kiki wrote, where she said in her book, it's on 137 in her book, as my resentment grew, my darkness started showing up. Old bad habits, defense mechanisms. Sometimes I went off on him, not Darius. This was another relationship where she talked about hitting this man in this relationship. I went off on him just to get a rise out of him. I couldn't express my pain and the fact that he couldn't see I was hurting and that he was causing me to think subconsciously and show him, though, making him feel that same hurt. And just like that, our relationship became physically and emotionally abusive, and mostly on my part. Sometimes we think only guys can be abusive, and it's not true. Things can get out of hand for anyone when you have feelings you ain't dealt with. There was one time in the middle of the night when we got into a crazy fight. I should say morning because it was more like 3 a.m. and I wanted him to leave. He wouldn't, and he wouldn't leave me. I was texting my best friend, and the whole time, like a movie, she hopped out of her bed without question and came to pick me up. So that's an excerpt from her novel, and some people are using that to point to the fact that they believe that Darius was not lying and that Kiki might have been abusive during the course of the relationship. What I will tell you is Miss Sharon Palmer ethered that man in the recording. And again, it's such a different thing because obviously he's not reacting because he knows he's recording the conversation to put out at a later time. And obviously Kiki and her mother do not. That toxicity, man, that volatility. Trent?
You know, we always end up talking about relationships. You know, I'm so tired of talking about people's relationships. I really truly am. You know, here's the thing. You attract who you are, number one. Whether you want to realize it or not, or accept it or not, whoever you are in that moment, all your partner does is hold up a mirror to you. And as a person who has dated a Virgo,
listen, I will say this before.
What I will say this about those Virgos, they love to provoke, okay? They love to provoke, and they love to attack. It's what they do. And then they act like, oh, it didn't anything. And, or they provoke and they attack and they stand by it and they rub it in.
I think sometimes young relationships can be complicated, and I think that this
All
is
relationships
why
are complicated, and everybody should just be quiet and mind their own business and get in their relationship. And you know what? Here's the thing. How would you act in some of these situations? Because a lot of the times we've dated people, listen, I've had somebody's mother cuss me out. My mother has never cussed out anybody I dated, because I keep my mother out of my relationships. But I've been cussed out by somebody's mother before. I cussed back, but I wasn't recording the conversation either.
Well, we will see what happens on the other side. One more fact before we
Relationships
go
are a
to
mess.
things.
Everybody should just stay to themselves.
It also has been revealed that there's a history of, domestic violence in Darius's family. His mother had a long-standing order of protection against his father for domestic violence as well. So it is probably something that he is also grown up seeing. So there's that. When we come forward, we're going to get into the Sharon and Whitney story. We're going to get into Cam, Kiss, and Joe Smith. All of that and more on the other side. You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Trending topics and the hottest happenings. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. Environmental justice, pollution, and climate. In Los Angeles and across America, people of color are suffering and dying from disproportionate health impacts on a planet that has less than 10 years to prevent irreversible damage. Heat illnesses, respiratory illnesses, water-related illnesses, food system impacts, insect-related diseases, black maternal health, and mental health effects. As the impacts of climate change mount, millions of vulnerable people, our people, are going to bear the brunt of these extreme environmental events, which will likely lead to forced displacement, loss of cultural identity, and other related risks. These realities are as real as rain. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580 for more details about the most progressive multimedia and live events campaign any black media outlet has ever undertaken to combat the climate catastrophe. Experts, events, empowerment. It's all on the way from unapologetically progressive KBLA Talk 1580. We don't black down. We level up.
Level up, 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 level up.
JP Morgan Chase is building on the investments in California and around the country to help close the racial wealth gap and build a more equitable future. As part of JP Morgan Chase commitment, they are taking action to help improve financial wealth and access to banking in the Black community, helping more people open low-cost checking and savings accounts, hosting community seminars with supporting Black-led institutions by building awareness about financial investments, hiring community managers, and opening community center branches like Crenshaw, Inglewood, and downtown LA. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Get the tools to help reach your financial goals. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity.
1 in 4 Americans today are living with a disability. I'm one of them. People with disabilities are extremely talented, resilient problem solvers that have so much to offer. And we've got a trusted ally on our side, an organization we can rely on, Easter Seals. Easter Seals is leading the way to full equity, inclusion, and access to healthcare, employment, and education for people with disabilities, families, and communities. That's my Easter Seals. Make it yours.
Learn more and get involved at easterseals.com.
Hey, keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. So listen, Sharon Osbourne, on her podcast, the Osbournes podcast, she shared a story about Whitney and Bobby from back in the day where she said, Whitney confronted her. So this is the setup, right? Sharon was hosting Divas Duets for VH1. This was years ago.
Oh, I remember that. That was in Las Vegas.
Whitney was performing.
With Bobby Brown. They did something in common that night.
Boom, boom, bam.
Yeah.
Andy on it as usual. And so she said that she was at sound check and Whitney was on stage performing. The first time they ever
performed it together, actually. Go ahead.
Really?
And live.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
So she said that while she was on stage, her mom, Sharon, was watching, and Bobby Christina must have watched the Osbournes because she came up and sat next to her and she was talking, right? And then she said suddenly Bobby walked up and he was sitting on the other side. So they were, chatting. And Whitney, Miss Leo Whitney, on stage, Sharon said she was singing and she slowly stopped singing. And she said she looked at Miss Osbourne. And she was like, no, she looked at her and was like, Mrs. Osbourne, are you trying to F my husband? From the stage. And however she said it,
mortified,
must have had Sharon shook, because she said, she responded with, no, please, I'm not. And that she went running down the aisle like, no, you don't understand. It's not like that. And she said that Whitney got distracted.
I could picture the whole thing going down right now.
So this is the part that's crazy to me. And I'm like, Sharon, this sounds like a little, Whitney's not a kitty cat with a red laser. She was like that at the time she had her wedding ring on and it was like pave gold or something, it had pave diamonds in it or whatever. And it was pretty elaborate. And she said Whitney stopped and looked at her ring and was like, beautiful ring. And she was like that she gave Whitney the ring. She threw it at her and was like, I promise I'm not interested in your husband. I'm married. And that Whitney was like, all right, okay. But really, Whitney just got distracted from first she was asking if you want to.
This is the setup.
Okay, let me hear it.
I'm not afraid to try. I know exactly what song she's singing, so she's practicing. I see the whole thing in my head. Okay, rest in peace, Whitney, okay? She went to sound check. She hadn't had her bumps yet. She's trying to do her thing on stage. She's sweating, okay? It's a dead auditorium, and in this empty auditorium, all she sees is her husband, Sharon Osbourne, and her daughter, okay? Bobby had just had an incident. They had a fight a week before. It's fresh in her mind. She's flipping out. She goes off. I see the whole thing.
You picture it vividly?
Oh, the whole thing. in its entirety, down to the way she said the F word and all of it. I see it.
The Mrs. Osbourne was key for me.
Oh, because that's how she talked, though.
Read her.
Yeah.
I love. So, side note, as was mentioned in the chat, I forgot to mention that Sharon Palmer, in the conversation with Darius, also threw a certain R&B singer under the bus because they were talking about.
Please don't let it be Usher.
They were talking about Darius's reaction in response to that, and that him going after Kiki. And so Mrs. Palmer said something very unbecoming. I'm sure it was just anger in the moment or just trying to deflect and throw him off. But she said some things. And you can't put the genie back in the bottle when you say stuff like that. It's going to be very tricky, very sticky, you know.
Well, yeah, she was going for shots fired.
She was. So,
mamas got that heat. Black mamas are, they can get crazy.
Secret record, like, I feel like it's basic knowledge, common knowledge. You were not allowed to record someone without consent.
Jill, these rules have gone out the window with these new kids because everyone's looking for this viral moment, especially when they have nothing to lose.
That is true.
And when you're trying to make a name for yourself and you are trying to find your footing in a world where your woman has everything and they're going to automatically side with her and you don't have really much of anything going for yourself, then this is what you're going for. And it's not a diss to him. It's just the reality of it. You don't have nothing going on for yourself, sir. You even deleted your socials. You are doing nothing. You are a baby's daddy trying to find your footing. And instead of focusing on improving your life, you're going back and forth. And maybe this conversation will set him on the right track to really focus on what he needs to focus on, because if you had as much time as you say that you do or whatever, you will be focused on something different. You wouldn't have time to record people and trap them because you will be trying to get your bag up.
Listen.
Right? And not be going back and forth with a woman in public or trying to record a woman or set her up.
Mrs. Palmer said as much. She did.
Because listen, a real dude is not going back and forth with a woman in public.
Well, I think they were in Kiki's house.
Or you're not setting her up, and you're not recording a conversation because you're looking for a moment, and your focus is off. And when you're trying to entrap people, it usually backfires on you.
And that's how I feel. You know, there were the pictures that were released and all of these things, and I think he really thought he had something. And it's like, sir.
This woman, shout out to this Danette Powell back in D.C. She told me something I'll never forget on a job when I was in my 20s and I was just trying to make it. And it was this woman at work harassing me, and she was always in my business, like always trying to figure me out. And Danette said to me one day, she said, when people dig a hole for you, don't even worry about it, because when they dig holes for you, they're digging it for themselves too. I never forgot that. And she's right. So when people are digging holes from you and trying to expose you, all they're going to do is fall in a hole themselves. They're digging it for themselves.
Listen.
And that's what happened to that young man.
I just want to implore, though, stop trying to record people in secret.
Stop looking for a moment. Because guess what?
Gotcha.
It's gonna come out in the wash anyway. You don't even have to do nothing.
I don't know.
Because guess what? No, and here's the proof in that. People are always going to tell on themselves. Like true. Kiki wrote that book about putting hands on people. She done already told on herself. So it's not really far-fetched that he says it or confirm. We already know this stuff because people are going to admit who they are without you even having to do anything.
Some people said that it is positioning because, she's been granted temporarily sole custody, right? If she gets sole custody, we don't know if he's going to try and hit her for some child support over if he gets awarded joint custody. And some say that by bringing these things into it, it's positioning for further down the line. And, the shoe is on the other foot. Moves that, sometimes babies' mamas are accused of making. That is what he is allegedly doing, according to some.
It's one trick getting tricked by a bigger trick. Because that's usually what happens when I'm telling you, you are in a relationship, that person is going to mirror you, good and bad. So what ends up happening is you end up with two people who fight the same. And if they fight dirty, then you're going to see a bloodbath and, pig slop everywhere. That's just how it goes.
I don't know. Good luck to everybody involved. Peace and healing. Okay, so listen. Hopefully.
Some people just love toxic situations.
I mean, listen, they could have peace and healing separately, right?
Sure.
That's what we hope. Okay, so listen. I've talked over the past few weeks off and on about former NBA star Joe Smith and he and his estranged wife, Keisha, who goes by Kiss, and how she had a secret OnlyFans account that he wasn't aware of because she said he wasn't holding it down with the money, right? Well, we know that I love It Is What It Is. That's Cameron and Mace's sports podcast. And Mace, being the good friend, surprised Cameron and flew in Keisha, Joe Smith's estranged wife, from Atlanta to come and do her body rub babe business on Cam. And let me say this. Her showing up and rubbing on him with his shirt off, you probably are not seriously thinking about getting back into your marriage. Maybe you are, but looks a little crazy, right? Mace trying to be the good guy because he was like, "You're not going to get in trouble, are you?" And she was like, "No. By who?" Mace was like, Joe, I didn't know that she was actually going to. Mace, you knew she was going to show up. What do you mean? If you booked the service, you knew she was going to come. She did admit that they both cheated at some point during the relationship. She said that because Mace was like, well, what did you do, to help, support him and put him on and be supportive before you did this, right? She said she sent him to audio engineering school because he likes music and that would be something, he would be good at. Of course, she said that, when she helped employ him at her other businesses, but she believes he's depressed. Mace was just sitting there looking like, wow, you really airing him out like this? And she's like, I've tried everything. But let me tell you.
But airing somebody out in a time of need is how you help. See, this is why people shouldn't be in relationships or marriages, because this is the part where people forget, for better or worse. This is that worst part.
Right. She said she's been dealing with the worst. She's been supporting him. She's been the breadwinner. She's been trying to talk to him. He doesn't open up. And, unfortunately, it had to be this way.
This is why he's not opening up to you, because you're not trustworthy. And every time you say something, you go and telling everybody. Because guess what? Before she went and set up and told Mace and Cam, guess what? She was on the phone with her homegirl and her mama and her sisters and everybody else running her trap, because this is who she is. She don't know how to shut up, and she's not trustworthy. That's why he's not opening up to her.
No, I mean, he stopped. She said that at one point. They've been together for like
13
years.
Because she was on the phone running her mouth, and you tired of your business coming back to you, and you tired of sitting up watching it, and you're not about to take part in your own demise.
But if he wasn't going out and paying the bills and putting to work, and she was trying to give him
he
ideas,
wanted her to leave.
Supportive.
He wants her to leave, and she won't go.
Then he should have left. He got the opportunity now. When we come
he
forward,
want her to file.
We'll have more on this. We're going to hear Cam's conversation with Kiss. And, of course, more trending topics and headlines. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Stand by your side to the very end. All in all, best of luck. We are friends. We are something in common. Boy, it means so much to me. It should be plain to see that way. We are something in common. It's the way we feel about each other when we're together.
Infusing a sense of fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. The mother of a 6-year-old Virginia boy who shot his teacher learned her fate today in federal court. Prosecutors say Deja Taylor's son climbed on a dresser, grabbed a gun from her purse, and took it to Rich Neck Elementary in Newport News the next morning, where he shot Abby Zwerner as she taught class. Taylor, who was black, pleaded guilty to charges related to the shooting over the summer. Now she's been sentenced to 21 months in prison. Taylor has a hearing next month on the charges the state filed against her. Memphis police say new officers are being hired, but they still have a shortage. Black Chief C.J. Davis spoke this week at the Memphis Rotary and said the department is close to 2,000 officers, which is nearing the goal of having 2,500 officers patrolling Memphis. Police data shows more than 21,000 arrests have taken place in the city from the beginning of the year through October. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Black Friday is Dell's biggest sale of the year. Get limited time deals, free shipping, and huge savings on laptops like the XPS 13, engineered to do it all on the Intel Evo platform. Shop now at Dell.com/deals.
Follow the leader.
KBLA Talk 1580.
Follow the leader.
If you're not following KBLA Talk 1580 on all of our socials, then you're missing out. Download our app and find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at KBLA 1580.
That's right.
Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcast of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Got your black.
Follow the leader.
Following the leader.
Oh my God.
Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
In Big Tobacco's Fantasyland, children are the future. Here, tobacco companies are committed to higher education, offering scholarships to students who submit essays about the benefits of vaping. The tobacco industry even sponsors summer camps for kids. Don't worry, the tobacco-sponsored programs have been linked to leaving your kids more interested in smoking. In Big Tobacco's Fantasyland, the world's deadliest industry is your child's friend. See reality at undo.org.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA reminds you that when we fight, we win, and we don't black down. LA Community Action Network, or LA CAN, was formed in 1999 when 25 residents of downtown LA came together and acknowledged the problems that existed in their community and made a commitment to do something about those problems, to stand together, organize, and become a force in the community that demands change. Civil rights and preventing the criminalization of poverty are their core projects. In addition, they take on women's rights, the human right to housing, and healthy food access. LA CAN also has projects focused on economic development, civic participation, voter engagement, and community media. While downtown LA remains their home base, with a particular emphasis on the Skid Row community, in 2007, they expanded their housing and healthy food access work into South Central Los Angeles. LA CAN believes that power for low-income people and people of color is achieved through a large, active, and well-informed member base that utilizes a multitude of methods to advance their messages and goals. If you'd like to join the Los Angeles Community Action Network and organize people to fight back against oppression, please visit cangress.org. That's cangress.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The City of Los Angeles Civil Rights Department and its LA Repair Participatory Budgeting Program invite nonprofit organizations to submit proposals to turn community ideas into reality. More than $5.4 million is available to make a difference in the Arleta, Pacoima, Westlake, Skid Row, South LA, Leimert Park, and Harbor areas. Don't wait. Proposals are due on November 29th at noon. To apply, visit repair.lacity.gov. LA Repair gives people real power over real money. Visit repair.lacity.gov.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminding you that we keep us safe. Pro Football Hall of Famer and urban peace pioneer Jim Brown believed in just that. So he founded the Amera I Can Foundation for Social Change in 1988, focusing on at-risk and high-risk youth in underserved schools and juvenile detention facilities, as well as adult incarceration and reentry initiatives. The core of the Amera I Can program is its 15-chapter life skills curriculum. Mastery of these skills allows individuals to meet their academic potential, conform their behavior to acceptable societal standards, and improve the quality of their lives by equipping them with what they need to confidently and successfully contribute to society. Today, the foundation is led by its president, Monique Brown, who has been actively involved in the organization for more than 25 years. The Amera I Can Foundation continues its work in memory of its founder, actor, philanthropist, and NFL legend Jim Brown. To get involved or make a donation, please visit AmeriICanCommunity.partners. That's AmeriICanCommunity.partners. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yeah, it's how it's going down. All we need is a stage, God.
Stage, God.
Yeah. Come on. It's on and popping, baby. The Last Temptation. He's back.
The way he was running up in his camera, though. He was all running up in that camera.
And I know you're getting more.
Yeah, look at Eddie back there.
Dealing with it. I know you miss my loving, my thugging, thug loving.
Was all in there.
I know you're getting more. Dealing with it. I know you miss my loving, my thugging, thug loving. And I know
you're living your life faithfully, safely away from me. But you miss being next to me, don't you? Don't let our love haunt you. Lust for what you want and go for your guns and back out on anyone that tries to interfere or intervene. On me peeling your wide body out of them tight jeans. Wrist on freeze, seats on lean, shoes 19. Coming through in that new Bentley thing. The talk of the town, the tease of the city. You and I make headlines like Lowe and Diddy or Bob and Whitney. I'm here 'cause the Lord sent me down like
You are locked in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm telling you, that is an underrated classic. I don't care what nobody says. That is my joy. Such passion for both John, Bobby.
Oh, he came so hard.
Right. Video, banger. Had lowriders, helicopters.
The whole nine.
Everything.
Wow.
Shout out to that. And shout out to Fahima in the chat. She says, if Kiki is the custodial parent, Darius can't claim child support. For example, Sherry Shepard isn't the custodial parent for the child Sal, her ex-husband is raising. Sherry is paying Sal child support. Listen, if they have joint custody, which he is trying to do, right now Kiki has temporary sole custody based off the restraining order. Joint custody is just what it says, and that is when she perhaps could have to pay him child support. So we don't know. You know, California laws are fair. Do you know, when it comes to that kind of stuff, right? We're a no-fault divorce state. That's why you hear a lot of these irreconcilable differences. And, you know, we'll have to see what comes of that. Now, listen, we got to play this clip of Cam getting massaged and attempting to kind of interview Keisha, Joe Smith's estranged wife, because Mace and their co-host, Stat Baby Treasure, they couldn't get it together. Because Cam was very much excited. He had on his silk pink shirt. He popped that baby off, took off his shirt, and laid down on the massage table to get his massage shirtless. Mace was like, I can't believe I'm watching this. So, you know, let's hear Cam and Kiss's conversation.
I think, and you can tell me if I'm wrong. Oh, sorry. You can tell me if I'm wrong, but I think that you was at a point a couple weeks ago where you wanted to fix this, and I think that you're having fun right now, seeing what single life has been treating you like the last couple weeks. Because I'm just, I could be wrong, but when we did, just saying real quick, when we did the interview with you, you was like, you want to fix it. And today you saying, I just want to be happy.
He's not going to feel any way about what you're doing.
She got low.
When's the last time y'all communicated?
We were texting with each other over the last.
So, listen, the conversation went on and on. There were some more questions. She said that if they both went to counseling individually and together, maybe they could work it out. I should also mention that they actually did an interview together. Okay. She also said in this interview, right, I can't remember the gentleman's name, but he was, one of those relationship guys supposedly helping them through the conversation, right? It was before she got flown out to Vegas to do this, right? I don't know at what time period in there. So again, we don't know how much of this is opportunity, pre-planned, and just in the mix, free balling as the opportunities pop up, right? But in the interview, she was like, Shaq has Papa John's. Why don't you got nothing? You can't call Shaq to help you. Like, it was pretty rough, right? And in talking to each other in this interview, he said that he was frustrated over discovering the account, obviously, and that they both agree financial difficulties and past unresolved issues pushed them to that point. She says that, she didn't get the benefits of the big lifestyle or whatever. She came when he was at his lowest point and only tried to lift him up and bring him up. She said she was cooking in lingerie. She was giving him pedicures every week, again, paying for him to try and find his second career choice, and he would just quit everything. Nothing works. So, I don't know.
Pedicures and lingerie and dinner is only going to motivate somebody so far.
But she said she was like, what do you like? Supporting his music career, supporting the other stuff. She has a moving company. He worked for that. Mace asked, well, what does he want to do? And she was like, I don't know. And I don't think he does either. I just try and support the things that he says he's interested in, or do things to make sure that we can, have a roof over our head, have some food on the table. Andy?
He might as well just start a podcast. Straight up. He's a former athlete. He could share stories. And, I mean,
they could talk sex and sports, freaky stuff.
Absolutely. Considering the situation that he's in right now, he could definitely talk about how he met his wife and where it went wrong. I think people would tap in and actually listen.
I mean,
I certainly would.
You think about this, like I mentioned the other day on Gilbert Arenas' podcast. There was a whole conversation between Gilbert Arenas, Kenyon Martin, and Brandon Jennings about women and the lifestyle and introducing women.
Kenyon Martin.
Yes. He was drafted number 1, I believe, in the 2000 draft, went to the New Jersey Nets.
Okay, because I'm like, okay, refresh me, because I'm like, I know the name. Okay.
His son is currently in the league, was with the Clippers starting out, played with the Rockets, was with the Clippers earlier this season, but was traded in the James Harden trade to Philly. So, and that is KJ, Kenyon Martin Jr.
Used to be married to Trina.
He wasn't. They weren't married.
They weren't married?
No, they
were
just
lips
dating.
on his neck?
He definitely got the lips on his neck. They weren't married. Kenyon had another wife, and that's a story for another day. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
But he and Trina did date. They dated heavily, and it's hard to maintain a relationship in the spotlight. It's easier to deal with someone that's in the spotlight because they can relate and understand, but it's hard to maintain those relationships sometimes. So, but Kenyon's married. He's been married for quite some time. He has, I believe, 2 younger children with his now wife. So, shout out to Fahima. She says that Smith and his wife are trying to get a reality show. I mean, we thought that, no doubt, I do think that they are angling for that. I don't know if it started off as such because I don't know if anybody was really checking for them and if it necessarily meant that they would get that. I do think, they were having an argument. It's good PR for her OnlyFans. She said that initially she was in like the top 20% of creators over this past year, and now she is in like the top 5% of creators. So subscriptions are definitely going up.
What city do they live in?
Georgia, Atlanta.
So why hasn't she positioned herself to be like on the cast of Housewives or something like that?
They don't got enough money. They wouldn't be interested in her. What she
But
can't.
you're not friends and running in circles with these girls?
No, not necessarily. I wouldn't think so.
Oh,
and
okay.
I wouldn't think they would. That's a different social lane.
But I'm just thinking like you're trying to pivot yourself to
But
be on
here's the
reality
thing,
TV.
maybe now, what would be the benefit before? Joe doesn't have any current money. Like, what about their situation would be interesting to the producers? She has no obvious connections to the cast, right? Obviously, they can put that stuff together, but those are coveted positions. Everybody thinks they deserve them.
She could be a friend of Marlo or something. I don't know.
I don't know. We'll have to see. When we come forward, more trending topics and headlines. You were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Beloved Entertainment presents Sweet Spot Live with me, Angelique Francis, at the beautiful Miracle Theater at 226 South Market Street in Inglewood on Sunday, November 19th at 6 p.m. Join me with KBLA for short stories told live on stage with us, by us. Yes, our own storytellers straight from the neighborhood. Colorful and provocative live storytelling event celebrating our unique culture, our strength, our courage, our faith, and yes, our fire. We invite you to walk with us through the neighborhood, even run with us down our dark alleys if you dare. Just around the corner, there is laughter, unspeakable pain, secrets never told. But don't worry. The door is unlocked and we're going to leave the porch light on. That's Sunday, November 19th at the Miracle Theater, 226 Market Street in Inglewood, 6 p.m. Yes, it is all happening right here in the Sweet Spot. Tickets available, sweetspotlive.eventbrite.com, sweetspotlive.eventbrite.com. We got a lot to talk about.
November is National Runaway Prevention and Homeless Youth Awareness Month, and the Sanctuary of Hope is shining a light on the situations that cause youth to run away or face a housing crisis. In LA County, nearly 3,000 youth are homeless on the streets each night. All month long, the Sanctuary of Hope will lead activities throughout LA County to inform and mobilize calls for action, and you can help. For more info, go to www.thesoh.org. That's www.thesoh.org.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With Venture X, earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy and turn everyday purchases into extraordinary trips. Plus, receive premium travel benefits like access to over 1,300 airport lounges where you just check in and chill out. Open up a world of possibilities with Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
This week at Target, you'll find different early Black Friday deals. Get fun deals on the latest tech, toys, and video games. Plus smart deals on small appliances, floor care, and so much more. At Target, you'll discover different early Black Friday deals each week. And get what you need for the holidays fast with free drive up or score free shipping when you spend $35 or use your red card at Target.com. Get low prices and early Black Friday deals only at Target. Exclusions apply.
Mom's early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard to take.
And when I left the oven on, we decided together that it was time to see a doctor and make a plan.
Early detection gave us more time to seek out information and support as a family.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. For more information, visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Now back back to more captivating conversation on RSVP with Jill Munroe.
You were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. So, listen, before we get back to these trending topics and headlines to end the night off, I forgot. Listen, if you're in the LA area, we have 4 tickets for you. 1 caller, 4 tickets.
Oh, yes.
1 caller, 4 tickets to the LA Auto Show. Give us a call. All you got to do is be the second caller. 800-920-1580. If you're interested. There you go. Okay, so back to these trending topics and headlines. Would you really be interested in a reality show from a, no disrespect, washed up former #1 pick and his ex-adult film actress wife who is now trying to be a singer? Would you really?
It's a lot better than watching some washed up wives who aren't even married to basketball players anymore fight each other and throw drinks and flip over tables.
But isn't that life? Everybody, their marriages aren't going to last forever. Why? I mean, it's all the same thing. Why are we judging? No, I'm just kidding.
I'm not judging. I'm just saying,
I'm
like, girl, you're not even a basketball wife. You're a husband. You're an ex-basketball wife. So if we can watch ex-basketball wives fight each other and throw drinks, with Jackie Christie washing with her husband in the background, then most certainly we can watch this washed-out whatever he is with his porn star wife.
I will say this: shout out to Doug Christie. He's
great.
Patience of
Job.
There you go. There you go. Perfect. Cause.
No, absolutely not. Shannon, what are resident Sagittarius? What are you disagreeing to now? She wants to be a producer.
What happened? What did we say?
I don't know. She wants to be a producer.
Okay, so listen, we're coming down to the end.
Yes, the final wire.
The road, right? So we said it's West Coast Wednesday. We haven't been getting, our people just stopped giving us the Tubi movies to watch every week. First, they were like giving us.
Oh, that was Urban Spencer's job. She's been busy with
her
with DJ.
With DJ, her dog.
Yeah.
And there was a couple other people. They haven't been updating us, so that's why we've been missing.
Did you
our
ever
Wednesday
watch Eric Coker's Good Poison? Did you ever watch those 2 episodes?
I watched the first one. Remember, we talked about that because he was the teacher, and
did we talk about it?
Yeah, we talked about it because but you're watching that show, Shannon Thompson. She's watching Good Poison.
Oh, okay.
Well, refresh us because here's the thing. I watched the first episode, right, and he saved him because his probation officer was on his behind, and he and the baby's mom had got into it, and she kicked him. Yeah. It was a lot. And so Fahima says it sounds like Smith's wife has been carrying all the financial weight. That's what she says. It definitely. And she said that he's not. I guess he's in his funk and not willing to do anything about it. So she took matters into her own hands. And I'm not mad at her doing that. I just think she should have told him first. That's all.
That's all.
And even he said that had she have told him, he probably would have been okay with it. But having to hear it from other people. She also said that, to your point, Trent, she thinks that he, in addition to being depressed, might just be over being with her. Remember, he cheated on his first wife several times. She alluded to them, stepping out on each other at various points. Clearly, she's picking up what Cam's putting down. But also, she said that she thinks that he might rather be someplace else. And she name-checked Virginia. And I'm assuming that's where, remember, she said that it was one of the women that he was dealing with that told him about the OnlyFans. He claims that's not how he discovered it, but
yeah, I think once people start cheating on each other and looking for outside sources of entertainment, it's just time to give it up.
It's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
That's the end of the night.
Yeah, just hang it up.
Hang it up, flat screen. Well, listen.
Hang it up and try not to drive on the 10 freeway.
I was just going to say, it's West Coast Wednesday, right? And we are starting this new where we're going to highlight some topics that are specific to LA, not excluding anybody, but just, giving some love to the city where we are all from. Shannon wants to know, where did Joe's $61 million go to? Not being very fiscally responsible.
Maybe he loaned it to Shaq to get the pizza deal. That's why his wife brought it up, and so you can call Shaq back and get a favor.
No, not calling back. Again, I mentioned that I have a cordial relationship with his first wife, Yolanda, and so Keisha, Kiss, implies that in the divorce settlement, quite a bit. I think she said 18 to 20 million went to her. There were also some alleged girlfriends and friends and business dealings that she claims stole money from him. And then there's just bad investments and debt that he had to, make amends for. So 61 million. Woo. Speaking of, I'm glad you brought that up, because we are going to be talking to someone tomorrow night on the show that lost, I think, more than $61 million, and also a former NBA player.
Now that is what I'm here for. Like,
NBA champion.
You lose all that money and you don't jump off a building or
here's
nothing.
The thing. And let me take it one step further. His ex-fiance is also on Basketball Wives. So
see what I'm saying? Like,
So
yeah.
Make sure that you are locked in tomorrow night, because we will be
what time?
He will be calling in the 9 o'clock hour, the first hour. So we are going to be having NBA champion Antoine Walker.
Yeah, I'm gonna be here for that. I need to know, because $61 million down the drain.
$61 million is what Joe Smith lost. Antoine lost a different amount.
You said more though.
More, yeah, more.
Ooh, girl.
So
tonight I took an L and we gonna bounce back. Like what?
Right. And lost his woman in the process. Urban Spinster has a referral for us, not on Tubi but BET Plus.
I love BET Plus.
So the title is, I don't know if I could say either one of those words. BA.
A female's dog's rear.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll look that up. We'll see if it's something we can watch. Shannon Thompson, she's rolling her eyes. Oh, you don't listen. That's a Basketball Wives reference, I believe. Because people are very divided on their feelings about his ex-fiance Evelyn Lozada. So.
Evelyn. Such a case.
But we're going to be talking to Twan about, financial literacy, NIL, this NBA season, lifestyle thing. So, if you have some questions, make sure you call in and we'll try and get to them.
I'm definitely going to call in.
So it's going to be a good time. Listen, thank you as always for hanging out with us VIPs. We certainly enjoyed the conversation. Trent the artist, Trent Jackson, you got to tell the people where they can find you so they can hit you up.
Yeah, you just told them, at Trent the artist on all social media platforms, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, my personal favorite, at Trent the artist.
But listen, they got to hear it from you. Like me telling them it's different. They need to hear your voice. You know what I'm saying?
It's lit. I've been trolling people with my Michael Jackson pictures lately. People don't understand it. I mean nothing by it. Him and Bubbles, him in different candid moments. Him on the balcony hanging, out looking down over the crowd. I love it.
So let me just add Shannon's comments from the chat. She said to remind you guys that Evelyn Lozada is a what? A who? A Sagittarius. Thank you guys for locking in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Make sure you are right back here tomorrow, 9 p.m. for more trending topics, more headlines across entertainment, sports, lifestyle, and culture. Thank you, Trent, the artist, Trent Jackson, for joining us. Shout out to Andy for bringing it every night. On the other side, the best of KBLA. I appreciate you guys. I'll see you tomorrow.
Plasma, hey nigga, asthma. I got the pumps, it ain't got medicine. I got bars, sentencing. I'm a bad bitch, I'm a coat, and I'll kick that hoe. Punt, force trauma, blunt. You play the back, bitch, I'm in the front. You need a job, this ain't cutting it. Nicki Minaj is who you ain't with. You little bragger, I beat you with a paddle lock. I am a move.